There are some NHL veterans out there that think a quiet locker room is a big, massive issue. Well, speaking of quiet, now you're going to get no quiet here today because you're listening to Locked On Canucks, baby.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, Canucks writer and credentialed media member for Daily Hive Vancouver. And before we dive into the show, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks. It's your team every day. Make sure you go subscribe or follow for absolutely free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. On today's show, we're going to talk about the locker room, okay? And whether the Canucks have a quiet locker room or not, whether that's an issue or not. Also going to talk about some fantasy news. Okay, let's go. Fancy hockey Canucks, baby. Kyle's got the ideas flowing. I know he does. I can see it. First and foremost, before we get into the show, let me introduce my brother from another mother, Kyle Bowen. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going? Everybody, how's it going? Trevor Beggs, how's it going? Kyle Bowen, Trevor Beggs, Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Mondays, man, I say it all the time. It is what it is. We're just normal people. We're just fans at the end of the day. We're not professionals. Okay, Mondays are a little harder when it comes to, getting into a flow state for these episodes. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, but hey, I'm also not gonna lie. I am feeling it, baby. I am feeling it. The sun is, I can't say shining. Hey, one love to the Okanagan, one love to the interior, one love to Kelowna, for real. The clouds are smoky, but for whatever reason, I feel as if brighter days are ahead. For everyone listening to this episode again of Locked On Canucks, your team every day, a quiet room. The Vancouver Canucks. Potentially, it's been the case that they have one of those things for years and years and years and years. Now they got Talkit. Are things going to change ASAP? You would assume probably not because that's hard to do. But do they got to change ASAP? I think so.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And, I think one of the reasons we're talking about this today is, hey, it's, middle of August, end of August. Okay, we need some stuff to talk about. This has been on my idea list for a while. So I read this quote from Mark Giordano a couple months back. And he basically talked about his experience in terms of talking to guys in the room and the best way to approach guys. And really, he's just saying how everyone's wired differently. And as a leader on that team, Giordano talked about himself being a captain and a leader. You got to learn how to approach guys on the team differently. So again, kind of gets your gears thinking about like in terms of who's the next Canucks captain, who's going to go up to the guys in the room and keep them accountable. But Mark Giordano went on to say in this article, it was done by The Score, he said that the biggest tell is when a group gets quiet. That's when you know you're not in a good spot. But when guys are chirping a lot, having fun, but in a serious manner, that's when you know a team is rolling. So I'm going to throw it back to you, Kyle. Do you think, again, Mark Giordano, veteran of the NHL, is he on to something here and is having a quiet room, which is what we've heard about the Canucks room over and over again, is a quiet room as big an issue as Giordano is saying it is?
I think it's an issue because you need you used this word a lot last week, right? Camaraderie. You need to be comrades with one another. And I do think, although it is tough to keep the morale high and the energy high after losses and even more losses, it's not that fun being at the rink. I still feel as if those are the moments, though. Let's say it's still a noisy room after a loss. The energy's a little up. I'm actually just reading this in a book right here. Okay, Pep Guardiola. They were talking about how when he first got there in Barcelona, I think they picked up 3 points collectively in the first. No, they collected only 1 point in the first 2 games. But he noted, I'm not joking here. I'm not even trying to connect. I didn't even know we're going to go this way. But he noted that after those first 2 losses, the dressing room was still up. The morale was still up. It still felt like a family. People were still going to the coach's room like, yo, we're going to go to the end for you. Like the energy was still up. You still got to find a way to keep that going because it's a long season. And you don't want quiet rooms after, again, loss after loss after loss. You just need the energy up. You
Yeah.
know, I don't even know if to go into deep explanation. Like, no,
Yeah.
that's not what you need. It's not what you need.
Yeah, and you and I obviously our hockey careers were not very long, but I think you and I both know we've been around teams, we've been around dressing rooms. Like if your dressing room's quiet, like that's obviously an issue.
Dude,
So
it's lame. Cause then it's
I
too
mean,
serious, you know? Like, here's the thing too, man, like,
yeah,
everyone knows
exactly.
that you're at the end of the day, whether you're playing hockey or not, you're way better at what you do when you're having fun, when you're fluid, you know, when you're playing. And when it is quiet, and then it's quiet again, and then it's quiet again, everything is based around the outcome of the game, and it's only about the game, and it's way too serious, and you're not able to be fluid and have fun and find flow state and, you know, ultimately be better than your competitors. Because, fun does matter. It's got to be loose in the ring. But how does this connect to, holding players accountable?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I just started thinking about. I mean, the first thing that popped in my head was Miller's answer on the Cam and Strick podcast. We talked about. They asked him like, "Who are your buddies on the team? Who do you hang out with?" And he had a bit of a long pause before he answered. And I'm like thinking, JT Miller. Some people think this guy should be captain of the Canucks. He's clearly one of the most vocal guys, one of the leaders in this team. And he talked about when he asked about like who he hangs out with most of the team, like Myers and Pearson were the first guys he brought up. And he talked about like how much change the team has been through. So it's like Myers and Pearson, two guys who probably aren't going to be in the Canucks for another year. And they started talking about like OEL and Shen and guys who are already gone. And it's like, maybe there is some disconnect again, but there's been a lot of losing. There's been a lot of turnover. I guess, more forward looking than look at the past because it's been 3 bad years for the Canucks now. Maybe things are quiet for a reason. But
Dude,
moving forward, can this be a group that really gets along and clicks and has that camaraderie?
okay, think
And
about this.
honestly, man, sorry, I'll say one more thing.
No, go
I,
ahead,
I
go
have
ahead.
my doubts because like look at the whole Bruce Boudreau thing from last year, right? Bruce Boudreau, like one of the most likable guys in the NHL. Things aren't going right. You think if that team had the camaraderie and the mental fortitude to get past them losing, they would have figured it out last season with when Bruce had his job on the line when they were losing all these games and they didn't figure it out. You know what I mean? So there's reason to believe that maybe it isn't quite the right mix of guys in that locker room right now.
This all ultimately comes down to winning. For real. If you're a family man, like you have children, you got a wife, right? You're doing your thing. Again, you're a family man. Why would you, after spending all this time with a bunch of losers, want to then take your recreational time and spend more time with losers? And I know that's a harsh word, but I'm talking about, hanging out with the boys who just lost another hockey game. It's just the energy's not there, man. You know, it is what it is. Winning does fix everything. Now, before they get to winning, they have to fix everything ASAP. Like we mentioned that, it's kind of they kind of have to go in reverse order. And can the captain slash new leadership group of this crew, not only hold people accountable, for their play on the ice, but also be glue guys, be those guys organizing things, just being the ultimate bros. I think so. I think so, man. You know why I think so? Because Bo Horvat's not there anymore. I'm not calling this guy the problem, but it's a change. You know what I'm saying? He's not there. The guy at the top of the pecking order, not based on skill, but based on like what the guy has on his chest. It's a big thing. Maybe not to you and I, because we're on the other side. Maybe not to the fans. We're on the other side. But for those people playing the game, and I played the game a lot, the C matters. The C matters. That's the guy. It goes from the top to the bottom in the dressing room. That guy's gone in the beginning of the year. He's nowhere to be seen, and that has to bring some sort of change. And whether they're going to be able to do something with it and convert that into like positive change, whether it be them being more of a brotherhood, more glue in the room. Wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. It's just the truth, but there is change. Now we just got to see for real.
Yeah.
Like the
And
alpha's different. The alpha's different.
yeah, the alpha matters, but I think the glue guys, like you mentioned, they matter as well. And I don't have the answer right now as to whether those glue guys are in the room or not. But I mean, look, they're obviously valued around the NHL. Look at the Maple Leafs going and giving Ryan Reeves a 3-year deal, paying him $1.5 million a season. Ryan Reeves, like I know people like him for his toughness. Ryan Reeves can barely play in the NHL. He got that contract because he's considered a glue guy. He
You
talked
know
about
who?
like organizing the parties for the teams and stuff like that. So glue guys do
Okay,
matter.
on
Chris
that
Tanev,
note,
I think, was a glue guy too in Vancouver when he was here too.
that's a great example. And he's on the other end of how he is being the glue guy spectrum. Very different from
Yeah.
Ryan Reeves. I'm assuming, unless this guy's a rock star on the low, right? He's like the Kawhi Leonard. Like we just don't know anything about Chris Tanev. Okay, super talented player. Okay, two things. If you and I just, we got to like 76 overall in our hockey careers, and we are able to be good guys the whole way through. I would either make it on a PTO or maybe we get drafted like in the 8th round, 9th round back in the day. Who knows, right? Who knows? And I think you and I would be good glue guys for real. There's a path there, man.
Oh
You
yeah,
got the good music.
100%.
Actually, we can't even say that too, though, because Ryan Reeves, the other thing he does is, be the ultimate bro by, standing up for your bros. Like he's risking his life for his
Yeah.
bros. That adds another layer of loyalty for real. It's just the truth. Okay, you know who can be the glue guy though? I'm having a tough time saying those two words together. Okay, glue guy, sticky words. That guy for the Vancouver Canucks can be, ironically, JT Miller.
I think so too. Right.
Yeah,
He's obviously one of the most vocal guys on the team. I think it's
and
you
he's
also
sick
have
and
you
he's
also have to
talented.
have a
He's
guy.
talented.
I think you
He's
also have to
talented.
have a guy,
Sorry.
and this is what I would be good at. You also have to have a guy that keeps things positive. I think JT Miller is not that guy. He tends to be very intense and kind of blow up. We see it on the ice. He talks about it
Mm.
in the dressing room. So I do think you need to have glue guys that have that optimistic outlook that kind of has guys in the mentality like keep your head up out there. Like let's just one shift at a time. Blah blah blah. All that stuff. So, anyways, we'll
Okay,
see if the Canucks can find their glue guys in the dressing room. Maybe let us know in the comments. The Canucks have a captaincy decisions to make. Does the fact that they reportedly have a quiet locker room should that influence the captaincy decision? Let us know in the comments. Maybe we'll tell you later on the show how we feel about that. On the
that's a
other
great question.
side,
That's yo, Bags. I gotta add to that. That's a great question. I know we have to get out of here soon. I gotta go to the doctors, but I can't not get this off my chest. Like you're actually making me think, and I don't know how much it's gonna ultimately like sway my idea for who the C should be, slash if there should even be a C this year. But if that is a quote unquote issue, they're missing a little bit of energy in that room. You give the C to Pettersson, who's openly quiet, and Quinn Hughes, who's probably louder. Like, we're not in the room, but like probably louder, but not that much louder. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like that's why it's a good question, man. That's why it's a really good question, man. For real. Anyways, let's get to break. Locked on Canucks, Trevor
yeah.
Beggs, Kyle Bauman. Beggsy, who we shouting out?
Like I said, I might tell you how I feel about that on the other side. But for now, let me tell you, newborn life has me short on sleep. It's harder to work out and eat healthy like I used to once upon a time. That's why I have a hard time living life without my AG1 in the morning, baby. Since I've been drinking AG1, I've noticed an overall feeling of sustained energy, support for my mental clarity, and focus. And hey, I need that focus to bring you the goods here on Locked On Canucks. AG1, it replaces your multivitamin, your probiotic, and more, and it puts it in one simple, drinkable habit. AG1 uses a science-driven formulations of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food source nutrients. Science, baby. And Kyle, you and I, we're over the 30 years old mark. I know that we need a product like AG1 to keep us feeling like we're only 29. And guess what? It only costs you less than $3 per day to have your AG1 and stay healthy and stay young. So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/NHL Network. That's drinkag1.com/NHL Network. Check it out.
By the way, before we get back to the show, I got to remind you again that every episode of Locked On Canucks will be available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcatcher at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all. Again, every episode of Locked On Canucks at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all. Let's get back to the show. Okay. We're back. Locked On Canucks, Kyle Bauman, Trevor Beggs on this Monday. This Monday edition, bro. You know what I got to do? And I tried doing something different before this Monday episode, right, of Locked On Canucks. I played a set, I'm DJing. I'm actually playing a set on what day? So I think September 2nd. I got the image somewhere here. I think I
Saturday,
got the
September
image somewhere
2nd,
here.
right? I think you're right.
I think so. Okay, there you go. Let's pull up the image. Shout out to the Monton, the #1 comedy club in Vancouver. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Shout out to Austin, too, one of the biggest legends. I'm playing a gig on September 2nd. Yes, an all-day event, 1 o'clock. Stop by. event details. They'll be somewhere. So I played some music before I hopped on here. I thought that would, get me into a flow state and not have such a cold start on the episode. I'm not gonna front. Not my favorite first 10 minutes of Locked On Canucks for me. So I think I gotta step it up and take 6 shots of espresso. I've been calling it espresso for a while. I'm gonna call it espresso for real from now on. Do it right. I think I gotta just have a really, really strong coffee. Don't play the instant coffee card. Give it to the people right and be prepared. And I think I gotta cheat. I gotta take the steroids, man. It is what it is. Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs, Locked On Canucks, fantasy hockey talk. Cool. I haven't played fantasy hockey in a very, very long time. Pretty boring to me. Just too much work in this busy thing called life. Even though I could do all that work on the toilet, it's still too much work for me. And I also think I'm so fascinated by fantasy football that it just, again, takes up all that time. I'm already so much of a sports head. I spend so much time on Twitter. Now I do that, for real. Fantasy hockey, I don't think it's going to be a thing for me unless something sways me. Now, before I go into one of my ideas regarding the sport, I'm going to call it a sport for real. Why not? Why not? Begsy, how's your relationship with fantasy hockey?
Yeah, I think I'm such a hockey nerd that I still have a good relationship with it, but I don't love as much as I love fantasy football, which I know I don't. I feel like you might bring it up, but you pitched this idea to me in the past to make fantasy hockey more like fantasy football. So I still play fantasy hockey on a yearly basis. I'm still in a 16 team league with a lot of my coworkers and fans from Nucks Misconduct. But I haven't been in a paid fantasy hockey league for quite some time. Whereas I do paid fantasy football leagues because I feel like I'm pretty good. I feel like I can win some money.
Damn. Okay, so that's a big thing. You don't put money down for your fantasy hockey leagues. Just
No.
it's not do or die for you. Because fantasy football is something else. It really is. There's some research, there's some time. Like, you could possibly be, I don't know, just doing a puzzle with your kids, but you're out there on your phone doing some YouTube research, on who you should draft in the third round. Is Aaron Jones a steal in the third round? Is he a guy that could win you the draft because you're drafting him in the third round? That's what you're watching. You're not doing that type of research for fantasy hockey. Okay, let's connect the dots though. This is my idea, and again, I've been part time in the game of hockey for a long time. Pretty much up until March of 2023, I was a part-time hockey fan for a couple of years. So I don't know if this is already happening, and if it is, cool. Let's just see it marketed more so it could actually impact a lot more hockey fans' lives. But what if fantasy hockey was only important on Saturday? You know how fantasy football is only important on, Thursday, Saturday, Monday. I know that sounds like a lot of days, but it's really about Sunday. Most of the grunt work is done on Sunday. What if fantasy hockey in your league was only important on Saturday? Okay. Most of the teams play on Saturday. And if some of them are missing, it's not really that different from fantasy football because there's bye weeks, right? So you're not losing that much. You'll adjust, you'll adapt. You'll be a GM. You'll make it done. I'll make it happen. Sorry. But again, if fantasy was only fun and really, really exciting and only super, super important for that one day in the week, like less is more technique? Yeah. I think something special could happen around the phenomenon that should be fantasy hockey. There's a lot of crazy stats in hockey. A lot of things happen. It's the coolest game on earth. Fantasy sports should matter. And again, they do. There's a lot. All of our listeners are probably big fantasy hockey fans. I'm just throwing this idea out there. Could they market it, showcase it, celebrate again that Saturday is that fantasy day? Saturday is fantastic for real. Just something. I don't know.
Yeah. And like I said, there's not always money involved in fantasy because I know we have listeners and viewers out there who are like a big fan of all the sports betting stuff that's like kind of rammed down our throats nowadays with it all being legalized and whatnot. That being said, I do think there's a way for the NHL to kind of plan around this, right? Monetize it, right? We're talking about growing the game. Well, growing the game means monetizing, whether you like it or not. It comes down to brass tacks. I think there's a way for the NHL
Holy.
to have all 32 teams play on a weekend and kind of have like a Saturday, Sunday NFL fantasy style schedule. Where again, maybe it's not 7 days a week that matter. Maybe there's only Saturdays where like 28 teams play and then another four play on Sunday. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I honestly, I'm a big fan of this idea. It's kind of like a blend between daily fantasy sports, season long fantasy sports, and like the NFL fantasy model. And yeah, I'd be very curious if someone could kickstart it. I'd be curious too for our commenters. Let us know. Do you play fantasy hockey? And what are your thoughts on basically Kyle's proposal here of fantasy hockey only mattering on Saturdays or weekends?
And I feel as if not much has to change. And like a lot of NHL games are played on the weekend. Like most teams are
Yeah.
playing on the weekend, at least one game. And I don't think you have to change much of your drafting strategy or leagues have to really be modified because you could draft a year long team. You could draft your boys and just keep it at that. It's still going to work. The model is still going to work if only Saturday and Sundays matter.
Hmm.
I keep in mind, I know this may sound dumb for some people because Saturday and Sundays already matter, in fantasy, like the everyday matters in hockey. But I'm just saying, if the marketing was simpler and they would be able, I don't know, they would be able to add more stake to the weekend. Everyone's off work. Just make the weekend and make Saturday just even more special. Hockey Night in Canada, great. I'm not going to poo poo on it. Again, a part-time hockey fan for the last couple of years. I can't say, less people are engaged in the game, blah, blah, blah on the weekends. I can't. But maybe they are. And maybe they won't be / have more fun with their weekend with hockey if, again, a big part of your connection with hockey mattered even more because of your fantasy hockey team. Like it only mattered on the weekend. Less is more. You don't got to worry about your roster every day. Every day. That's the downside. Even though, I take two poops a day. I could be doing my roster every day on the toilet. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that much hard work. But I'm just a human being, man. I already struggle on Mondays. It's hard. It's life stuff. For real. Less is more.
Yeah, no, I like that idea, buddy. I'm curious if maybe you can monetize it one day. Maybe you could be the head honcho of
Uh,
the rejuvenation of NHL fantasy hockey, buddy.
who
You live
knows?
in
Who
Locked On
knows?
Canucks for the big times at that point.
Hey, for real, for real. You know what? I don't even care if we're not the first people who thought of this. Like, I don't care if we're not the first people to put this on. Who cares? Just want the game, just feel a little bit more special, man. I'm being a little selfish too because I think that would be kind of cool. I think I would play. Okay, I'm being selfish. I think I would play fantasy hockey if I only had to care about it being cool for one day or a weekend. You brought up the weekend. That's cool too. Anyways, Locked On Canucks, your team every day. It's the summer, man. It's the summer. We're doing it. Doctor's appointments, life, Wi-Fi connection problems. Yeah, we're just going through the punches. Uh, our preseason starts now, for real. It's just the truth. We've had that meeting a couple weeks ago, Begsy and I. This dude, this dude brought the heat. Okay, more on that later in the week. Let's get the comment corner on Locked On Canucks. Again, your Canucks every day. Okay. You're back on Locked On Canucks. It's your Canucks every day. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably wondering, where did Begsy go? This guy's got diarrhea, okay? For real. We're honest people. It is what it is. And we got to allow him to go do that while we get to this comment on Comment Corner. And after the read of the comment, he'll just come back. For real. I know he's going to time it out pretty well, but we got to get things going because I do got a doctor's appointment, okay? For real. My eyes. You know why I wear sunglasses? It's not because of 420. It's because there's something going on with my eye. Now, before I do read the comment, and it's a good one from Risotto, this guy's talking a lot of ish. I got to say this too, okay? Comment Corner, powered by Paraphrasing, is the best part of the show. It's where you get the spotlight, and we're being serious, okay? We've mentioned this a couple times on air. If any of you who leave these powerful comments actually want to feature themselves on the show for an episode once per week, we're open to doing that. For real. For real. Okay. Our people, our brothers at Locked On Senators, they've been doing it for years, I think, years and years and years. And it's a beautiful thing. For real. We ain't the media, we the fans. And if that's the case, you should be a part of the show. If, again, that is something you're interested in, let us know by DMing us on Twitter if you're interested in that. And if you also pair up that DM with a great comment on today's episode or any episode coming up, again, you could hop on with us on Locked On Canucks. And man, oh man, we got to get going. Let's read this comment from Risotto, man. Risotto, man, this guy's bringing the heat on Comment Corner.
Welcome to Comment Corner, powered by Paraphrasing.
This comment comes from our friend Risotto.
I don't think Hughes is that Norris type. My grandma has a harder shot than Quinn Hughes, and she's 104 years old. Also, his stats are his stats cause he plays a lot for a bad team.
First of all, shout out to Risotto, man. That's the commenter. And I actually had risotto for the first time a couple weeks ago. That was nice, dude. That stuff's nice. It's different.
Yes, it's
It's
fancy.
different.
It feels fancy, but it's just kind of like rice and pasta had a baby. That's nice. No, I like
Yeah.
risotto. That was nice.
Anyways, Quinn Hughes shoots like your grandmother. Okay, he doesn't have the hardest shot. I think I can go so many different ways with the question I'm going to ask you, but I want to keep it positive. Possibly. Do you think Quinn Hughes can work on his shot efficiently? Like, can he take his shot up 2 levels, not one? Because if he gets a shot up 1 level, it's not doing much. And yeah, can he do that? Because I feel as if he's able to do that somehow. We brought up Bo Horvat a couple minutes ago. Like that one year he just became a way better skater. Like he just transitioned like boom bam. And I'm sure other players have done significant things in the offseason. They made strides in certain traits. Do you think Quinn Hughes can improve his shot drastically?
I, the easy answer is to say, yeah, I think he can. Do I think he's going to? Probably. I don't really ever see it being a calling card of his game. That being said, I think this guy can hit, 10 goals in an NHL season. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. What, he had 8 a couple seasons ago. Um, he had 2 goals in one game. Like, he could score goals, right? But it's just not the calling card of his game. He's never going to shoot the puck a lot. And I think that's fine. This guy, he gets his points because of his vision on the ice. And he's got the edge work and skating to just dance around everybody. But he puts up points because he knows how to find guys. That's the calling card of his game. He's good at defending too. I think he's underrated for the work he does in his own end, in terms of stopping guys in his own zone. So yeah, I don't think the shot's ever going to be a calling card in this game, and that's okay. Like he might get his goals from deflections because he threw a puck on net. You know what I mean? But if he piles up 80 assists because he's great at finding guys on the ice, who cares if he scores 1 or 2 goals a season? He's putting up 80 assists, like to me, it's not a big issue, but I don't ever see it being a real strength of his game. But yeah, Quinn Hughes going to prove me wrong. And I mean, proved a lot of people wrong in your career so far. So what's proven old begs you
Yeah.
wrong too,
And yeah, I'm definitely one of those people, right? If you pick up assists, realistically, you're still picking up goals if you think about it. That being said, if the boy can pick up his shot for real, if like Quinn Hughes can get that shot from a 77 to an 85, think about it. That's cool. That's a different level, and it is possible. Now, Risotto did mention also that Quinn Hughes only picks up his points because of how much ice time he gets on a bad team. Blah blah blah. I think no, Trevor, don't shake your head. Okay, come on. Okay, risotto's good. The food is good. I'm gonna assume this guy's a good guy too. Okay, let's leave him alone for real. Anywho, I do think your opinions are valid, right? When you're cheering for a bad team and you have a good guy on your team, but he's also part of a losing team, you can get jaded. Okay, you can not see things the right way. It's fair. That being said, I know it was a small sample size, and it actually kind of happened right around this time. When was the bubble? 3 years ago, the bubble playoffs. 3 years ago, I think they just beat St. Louis 3 years ago on this day. What Quinn Hughes did in that playoffs, like when everything really mattered, right? And games were tougher, he was good the whole way through, like great the whole way through, epic the whole way through, record breaking the whole way through. What he did then, even though they were the fake playoffs, I take that seriously. I take that really seriously. Quinn Hughes is
And he was a
damn good.
rookie. He was a rookie at the time. you know, the guy was the best defenseman in NHL history as soon as he laced them up for the Vancouver Canucks. I don't want to hear no Alex Edler, Ed Jovanovski, Matthias Ohlund talk.
Oh,
Quinn Hughes was the best defenseman in Canucks history as soon as he was drafted. As soon as he was drafted by this team, he was the best defenseman in team history. And he proved that in his rookie season. And he's only gotten better. And I know he had a bit of a dip during the 2020-21 season, but the guy is one of the best defensemen in the NHL, hands down. Whether or not he has
man,
a
oh
good shot
man.
or not, doesn't matter.
Man, oh man. Begsy, thank you for that, man. That's the energy, okay? We ended off the show strong. on the Monday. Positive, fluid, having fun. And that's what we got to do here on Locked On Canucks. I will find a way. I'm not joking about the 6 shots of espresso before the Monday episode, before the Monday day in general. My homie from Williams Lake, he does that. Every day he does that before he opens up his clinic. So I'm going to do it too. It is what it is. Whatever it takes to be the best every day for the people here on Locked On Canucks. Why? Because, we do this every day. Every minute counts, okay? For real, for real, for real. Subscribe, hit the like button, and let us know how we did on the podcast side by leaving us a review. One love to you, the listener. One love to the people who are not listening to this as well. We gotta send that energy to the people, okay? Beggsy and I from Surrey. That's what we learned in elementary school, okay? On the first day of kindergarten in Surrey, and maybe across the nation, probably across the nation. I'm gonna assume only Surrey did this because I'm gonna be loyal to my neighbors. But you got to treat people the way you want to be treated. On that note, Beggsy, sign us out.
All right, let's get. Hey, shout out to my elementary school, Selvin Elementary, Pride of Surrey, for teaching me those manners. Okay, but
Green
most importantly,
Timbers.
shout out to you. Hey, Green Timbers. There you go, buddy. Most importantly, shout out to you, whether you're an everyday or an occasional listener, or if it's your first time listening. Welcome to the program. We appreciate you for tuning in. Coming up this week, Colin, we got to get to work, man. So I'm going away next week. We got to pre-record some episodes, but some things on my mind include the best third line center in Canucks history, ranking the all 10 drafts from the 2010s for the Vancouver Canucks, and more. We're going to figure it out, okay? But for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Ballard, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.